This is a battle in the blue tournament with Wingman commanding Egyptian and TJFPlox of the AVA clan commanding Seleucid. Schlacht von Pyramiden. So this is either German or Austrian, I assume. Still, max 8 of the same unit, so we'll see a reduction in sword spam. Good map for both factions. They both have units with resistance to heat. For Egypt, we have 6 Egyptian cavalry, Nubian spears, Theraeus spears, royal peltas in the center, thorax swords, Nubian spears, Levi Theraeus, Carian axemen, so a lot of javelin units. For the Seleucid army, we have 2 Persian light archers, we have thorax swords, silver shield sword in the center, 3 hillmen, the Levi freemen of the eastern world, 2 eastern javelins, mercenary Syrian armored elephants, a bunch of Median cavalry, a total of 4. The Median cavalry is going to do well against the Egyptian cavalry. The Egyptian cavalry does well if it's able to rush into engagements that are already happening. Then they can do a lot of damage, but they don't like getting charged because they're only medium. Oh, there was actually a citizen cavalry in between the Median, so Egyptian cavalry is going to do okay against citizen cavalry. It's not going to do great against Median cavalry because of the lack of armor. So infantry advantage, it's fairly even in terms of infantry. The short range skirmishing advantage goes to Egypt ever so slightly, but there are Persian light archers and Theraeus and Eastern javelins for the Seleucid army. So a Hellenic matchup this, with the successor kingdoms of Alexander facing off on the pyramids. You don't see Egypt too much these days. Egypt used to be sort of a go-to faction, but now that a lot of their units have been nerfed through the patches, then they're not as great as they once were. Still a decent enough faction. They just don't excel at anything in particular. They lack good skirmisher cavalry. They also lack good melee cavalry. Median cavalry is superior to Egyptian cavalry, mainly because of the morale and the armor. Egypt pushing up here. Egypt doesn't want to take too much damage from the Persian light archers in this engagement. Egypt wants to get up close, unload javelins and rush in. But there is this mercenary Syrian armored elephant that could be a huge problem for Egypt to deal with. Thorax swords under fire. This actually counts as a forest, so if they just stand there, they could potentially tank a lot of arrows. But it looks like Egypt is going to go on the offensive. Egypt wants to engage. Elephants put on the flank here to come crashing in from the side. But there are quite a few units able to deal with the elephants, Carian axemen and Levi Theraeus. So here we have the main engagement starting in the center. Thorax swords up against thorax swords. Silver shields are going to do very well against thorax swords, of course. Both players getting good charges with their units, and they basically have the same unit. So royal peltas firing into the blob. I think it would have been a better idea to fire at these archers actually. Nubian spears need to be careful here because they're getting surrounded. Same happening on the other side here. We have the mercenary Syrian armored moving in. Hillmen moving in to stop the javelins of the Levi Theraeus, so very smartly done. But the elephants need to be super careful with the javelins from these Carians. They could be running amok momentarily. Yep, they're running amok right now. So many javelins incoming against the mercenary Syrian armored elephants. And now they're racking both friendly and enemy units. They haven't started dying yet because they have such massive hit points. Clusterfuck of an engagement over here, but this is not a good engagement for Egypt at all. The Egyptian cavalry is going to get destroyed by the hillmen and the Median cavalry. So the mercenary Syrian armored elephants are dying, but they are doing so much damage to the Egyptian units. And the Egyptian units are of course getting the fair effect, while the Seleucid units are not getting the fair effect. So Egyptian cavalry getting into the Eastern javelin men. nicely done there, but Egypt is just not in good engagements all across the map here. The silver shields took out the thorax sword without taking much damage. Now the royal peltas got a charge on them, so they're going to do well there. But the elephants are out of javelin range, they're out of danger, so they might come back from routing. Now they did come back from routing. They're going to be able to take care of these Egyptian cavalry units now before they do too much damage to the Persian light archers. And in this blob over here, the Egyptian cavalry is just dying to superior cavalry and infantry support. Same over here, the Egyptian cavalry gets charged by Median. The Median cavalry is going to win. This unit of thorax swords up against Nubian spears is actually losing, because there are some carrion axemen in there as well. Nicely done here in moving the Egyptian cavalry down the line, getting into the Persian light archers. But the elephants, there isn't really anything left to counter the elephants. Well, just as I said that, Levi Thoreos makes the elephants run amok into the silver shields, into the Seleucid units. So these Syrian armored elephants are doing a lot of damage, but this flank is about to crumble for Egypt. So Egypt is doing reasonably well over here with the carrion axemen, charging in the Thoreos spears against a very depleted unit of thorax swords. The general of the Seleucids is not doing well. Very nicely done here in using shield wall on the royal peltas. But the royal peltas are still taking a lot of damage. I still think that the silver shield swords are taking the worst beating out of these two units. So now there's actually quite a lot of Egypt left on the field, because these carrion axemen are able to run in, charge the hillmen in the rear. But the general of the royal peltas general just took so much damage from these mercenary Syrian armored elephants, and I don't see any units now that are able to stop them. So this is not looking too good for Egypt. Egypt is winning over here, but I don't know if these carrion axemen have javelins left on them. Nubian spears rushing in with their decent charge bonus against the thorax swords, able to defeat the thorax swords. This is a really cool battle. The general, or the royal peltas general, is now getting ganged up on, and there is still a thorax sword unit left in the center here. I think it was a mistake pulling out the carrion axemen here, maybe, because the Egyptian cavalry is going to lose now. Maybe these carrion axemen do have javelins left, and they're going to take care of the Syrian armored elephant. There is just one elephant left now, but that one elephant is going to destroy the royal peltas and maybe also the thorax swords. So the carrion axemen are turning around, but a bit too late, because the Median cavalry are finishing off the Egyptian cavalry. And the carrion axemen did manage to get into the fight, so they might do a lot of damage now. And now there's actually a lot of Egypt left on the field. Just depends on how much damage this one elephant can do. But it's getting fired upon by javelins. And wow, what a turnaround for Egypt this was. The elephant ran amok. The very cheap javelin units did their job. And this very sort of mixed bag Egyptian build was able to pull it off against the Seleucid build. So very nicely done by Wingman. That was a really cool battle. So the Median cavalry overall did well against the Egyptian cavalry. The Egyptian cavalry that got into the skirmishers, absolute game winner. And the Nubian spears actually did super well. The elephants were neutralized to a significant degree, so they were sent in way too early. If they were sent in after the hillmen had managed to tie down the javelin units of Egypt, things could have looked very differently. But good game, well played to both players, very entertaining game to watch. Strength and honor.